Oh, the M16 sucks. ACR is overpowered. No, let's talk about real firearms, gunpowder, lead, all that. But more specifically, let's talk about cultural views on firearms. So obviously, here in the United States, we have a rather interesting view on firearms. Our Second Amendment rights allow us ownership of them, and so we're a bit more open with them than other countries. So, the stereotype is obviously, Americans are fat, dumb, cheeseburger eating, shoot everything that moves, this and that. Now, being that most of the people who are going to view this video will be American citizens, that's BS. Alright? So really, if you're responsible with it, it can be, something that's fine, you just take out on the weekend. And, a lot of us do see it as similar to, say, owning a car or a four-wheeler. It's not something you're going to use everywhere, but you are going to use it on the weekends and maybe, out in the woods or whatever when you want to enjoy yourself. Now, moving across the pond a little bit to say, maybe Britain. According to the Telegraph, as well as the BBC, Britons have a very black and white view of what a gun is. If you don't have a gun, you cannot shoot someone, ergo, no gun violence. Seems simple enough, right? Well, this is where the culture gets involved. If you look historically at Britain, civilians haven't really needed guns, as a lot of the wars they fought have been, overseas. I mean, during World War II, there was obviously attacks on London, but there was no land invasion. So moving on to say, Switzerland, the blue one right here, the green one. Right, they have a very open policy about firearms, and in fact, after compulsory military service, you are given your service weapons, which are a fully automatic rifle, the make and model I do not know at this time, as well as your handgun, it goes off the policy of, okay, he's been trained how to use it, he knows how to use it safely, let's just give it to him, and you know what, whatever. Now, after the military, most will actually carry around their rifle rather openly, just strapped to their back, it's unloaded, this and that, cool beans. Now, this is actually rather normal for a lot of the natives, while a lot of tourists will find this striking, and perhaps a bit odd. Which, makes sense. I mean, here in the United States, we're pretty open about firearms, but we're not that open about it. Now, moving around a little bit, let's try a different continent, say Japan, Asia with Japan. Now, Japan has extremely strict anti-gun laws. And extra credits on YouTube, they actually did a rather interesting video regarding this, as well as their cultural view on rifles on guns, when they covered the difference between American game developers and Japanese game developers and the ratio of first-person shooters coming out of each country. While America obviously puts out a lot of them, I'm looking at you, Activision, Treyarch, EA, as well as Bungie with the Halos, the Call of Duties, the Battlefields. While Japan does a lot of third-person shooters, say Vanquish, Metal Gear, that kind of stuff, which shows that countries, they see them very differently in the United States. If you look historically, a weapon in Japan is seen rather oddly compared to, say, a weapon in the United States. While the United States was founded on gun violence, was in a sense founded on gun violence. I mean, we declared independence and had to fight the British for a while, and then we were held together with gun violence during the Civil War, and then we established ourselves as a superpower with gun violence. World War II, brought us Cold War. Long story, there's a lot of semantics behind that, but we're not going to get into that right now for time. Japan has a very long stretch of history, and if you look at that history, only the noble and the publicly prominent were allowed, genuine weapons. The samurai, for example, katanas, bows and arrows, which shows that, it was something of a status symbol. And that hasn't really trickled down to, say, the more common folk over the years. It's been kind of put a good impression on, and going back to the World War II thing, historically, the airsoft rifles used by the Japanese military at the time were stamped with a chrysanthemum to show that they were the emperor's property, not the soldiers'. But I digress. Now, let's all wrap this up and say that, think of it like this. In America, we think of a gun kind of like a car, or like a four-wheeler. It's a cool thing to have. Not everyone's going to have one, but we like them. In Britain, they just, no, screw that. Japan's the same way. In Switzerland, oh yeah, I got my gun right here. And so really, when it comes to the whole gun politics, just think about where you are and how it works. Anyway, that should be it.
We're talking guns with Ashley and
Tyler.
Bye! And Where's your face? Manoli!